Hello, Virgo. Thank you very much for tuning into this week's read. For the main part of the read, I'm using Bonefire Tarot by Gabby Angus West. Supportive Oracle cards will be Queen of the Moon Oracle by Stacey DeMarco. All right. Already shuffled. Let's put this over here. I'm not sure how many of these we're going to use. This seems to blur. I'm already getting like a blur. Like, what's going on with this? This, I'm going to say this looks really good. It starts off in a weird energy for you, but it ends really well is what I'm getting. So, you've got this Four of Swords where you're starting, which is kind of I wouldn't always say it was a bad energy. I would say it's kind of like one of those things where you're kind of contemplating what's coming next. It can feel a little overwhelming sometimes, I've noticed, because it's kind of like there's a lot of noise going on around you, and it's kind of like it could be giving you kind of a headache type feel. You have a lot of hope, but you're kind of like worried, like, can I really pull it through? It's one of those things where you kind of need a rest. Sometimes this card comes up when somebody needs a rest, but they're not taking a rest, and they're feeling run down. It's kind of that feel. This is how it's starting. Now, this is like, I feel like the reason this card is here is you're fully well aware, okay, that a whole new phase is coming in. Like, the World card is coming in, like, a change is happening that's not temporary. A permanent change is coming. You're going to have to do things differently. You're going to have to reorganize your life a little bit. I feel like literally you have to reorganize your life a little bit. And you see it coming, and it's a little stressful. But the World here, I feel like, is very positive. And I actually feel like there's a lot of good energy coming in with that World card. You got abundance and faith. And there's a lot of this blurring in the environment. Because I'm getting a lot of good things are around you. The faith, it's not so much that you're questioning there's good things there, but what am I going to get of it? Like, there's good things there, but do I get a piece of the good things? You know what I mean? Is it worth it? Just because there's good there doesn't mean I'm going to have it. Like, I can look through the window and see a lot of cakes and pies, but am I going to get any of those? Like, that's another thing. I can see it there, but is it for me? And the abundance with the faith is kind of like saying, like, yeah, some of this is for you. Enough of it to where you'll be happy. Now, literally, it has to take its first step into reality. Once the change starts happening, and I really feel like you have to reorganize your life. I feel like it's that type of change. Once it starts happening, from that moment on, it starts getting better, because once you start living it, you can start forming things the way you need to. It's kind of like, okay, I thought that would work, but now that I'm actually doing it this way, I don't know if it's really working. And you have to kind of adjust things. You're in this mode where you have to adjust anyway. So it's like everything seems to be moving in and out around you as it is. So you're like, well, me moving my life around isn't that big of a deal, because everything else is changing and moving around me anyway. So it's just kind of staying in that flow. Like, I thought this would work. That's not really. Let me try it this way. It's not really. Let me try it over this way. Okay, this feels better. Let's keep going down this path. What else can we add to this path? Okay, let's keep adding here. And that seems to be how you're going. The farther you get down the path, like, you have to first get your bearings, get your feet under you, and like, wait, this path, no, that path, no, that's uphill. I'm not afraid of uphill. Let me try uphill. And I feel like that's kind of where this is going. Like, that way, like, it's kind of like you're looking this way, that way, and like, that way, well, that way's kind of hard. Well, I'm not afraid of that, but let me try it. And I feel like that's what you're doing. You're taking, like, the harder route, but, and this might be typical of earth signs, which is Virgo's an earth sign. It's kind of like, I'll put the effort in now to get the payoff later. That's kind of like, you're not just going to take the harder route, kind of like, yay, yeah, let's take the hard route, because that's just fun. No. You're taking the hard route with the expectation that it's going to pay off in the long run. You do the hard work now, get the reward later. That's the reason for that. So, you got things. The longer it goes, the better it gets for you. Now, I'm seeing pleasure and boundaries here, which is it's kind of funny. Again, I think Earth kind of matches this. Like, when you feel like there's a structure, Like, we stay in the lines, we go here, we don't go there, we do this, we don't do that. It's kind of like the rules are not just for you, they're for everybody. And once you know where these rules are, you know what to expect from things around you, you know what to expect coming towards you. It's kind of like the boundaries are like, this is all I need to deal with. So anything outside of these boundaries, that's not for me. And it kind of helps you define what you need to handle and what you don't need to handle. So the boundaries in this situation, that's why the pleasure is next to it. Because it's kind of like, okay, so I started off with this whole room full of craziness, but like only this corner is my responsibility. And of this corner, these things are what I need to do. And of these things I need to do, these are the parameters in which I need to handle them. So like it's kind of narrowing it down to like, okay, I can handle this a lot better because I know this is what we need to do. This is what my responsibility is. This is how it needs to be handled. It's actually making things a lot easier for you. Boundaries are making things a lot easier for you is what I'm getting. Because you're like, oh, good. I don't have to deal with this whole room, just this corner, and of this corner, just these things, and of these things, just this way. This, not a problem. Not a problem. Because the effort, you don't have a problem with the effort. I don't really feel that. Normal Virgo, like, yeah, I got to do it, then I got to do it. That's just how it is. Earth is usually pretty dependable like that. Now, the Fool card comes in next. I feel like once the boundaries are set, like you're well into the situation by this point, and then the boundaries are kind of set. Like, all right, now that we're here and we're doing things this way, here are the boundaries. Once those boundaries are set, I feel like there's a very positive energy. You're like, this really makes you feel good. Kind of like, all right, things have a structure. I can work with structure. Feels really good. There is cat fur on me. There is this energy here in the environment. Self-reflection and creation. People are going to try to kind of move things around and kind of mess with the boundaries a little bit. I don't see them being overly successful because the thing is you're very successful working with these boundaries is what I'm getting. So other people might try to push their own boundaries. I don't feel like they're going to really have any effect in changing yours though. This is a good energy, but I'm curious because I'm trying to understand it. I feel other people, self-reflection and creation is kind of like they're changing things a little bit. They're trying to kind of like change the boundaries a little bit. But I feel like when it comes to your boundaries, it's not affecting you. So it's almost like if people are changing their own boundaries, they might be taking on extra things, and that's their issue. They don't seem to be causing you harm. And I feel like they're just addressing this, like, don't worry about other people and what they're doing with their own boundaries. Stick with your own. Just worry about your own. You'll be fine. I think they're just addressing that because you're probably going to notice it, and part of you is going to be like, ooh, if they're screwing with the boundary over there, what's that going to do to my boundaries? I don't feel like it's going to come over your way. Just acknowledge it, see it there, but don't get involved with it. Just leave it alone and pretend it's going on. Like, don't address it, but, like, be aware of it. I think that's what they're saying. Don't address it. Don't address it. Just be aware of it. That's all you need. You'll be fine. I don't see it really bleeding over onto you, but as long as you're aware of it, you'll have the heads up. You'll know what you need to do. You'll see it coming. You'll be fine. Because what I'm getting here is people are challenging their boundaries. Okay, this is why. And they're having problems. People are going to be challenging their own boundaries and having problems because of it. Again, don't address it. Don't go towards it. Be aware of it. Don't address it. Let them come towards you because I feel like this is what's going to happen. They're going to come towards you because they're having problems. And then when they start asking you about how you're doing and how well you're doing and why you're doing so well, that's where you're going to reiterate, well, my boundaries say this, and my boundaries say to do it this way, and I just stay in the boundaries. I stay in the boundaries. I almost feel like you might get in somebody's face like, I stay in the boundaries, and things work out. Because I see you, this energy is coming towards you. Somebody else is messing with the boundaries. They're trying to. And they're trying to come forward and get your help on these things. And they're really attracted because things are working a lot easier for you because you stay in the boundaries. That's why things are working a lot easier for you. And when they come forward with the Knight of Wands and this attraction card, I feel like you're just saying, hey, I just work at the boundaries. I stay within the lines. And I feel like you're helping other people get back in line with the correct boundaries, because you have the King of Cups here. Your boundaries are not going to be challenged, but people are going to need your help to get back in their own boundaries. And I feel like you're going to be able to help and kind of advise in that sense. I really feel like you're doing really well with your own boundaries, and other people need your help to understand not only what their boundaries are for some reason. I don't know what that's about, but it's almost like they need to know what their boundaries are. It's almost like they weren't paying attention. But then to get back in boundaries, like what needs to happen to get them back in their boundaries. And I feel like you're helping, you're like advising people at this point, saying, do this or go there. Like, isn't this where your line is? You crossed it. You got to pull it back. Now you're going to have to correct that, put it back where it was supposed to be, and bring your stuff back over here where it should be. Then things will go a lot smoother for you. Stay within your boundaries. There's a lot of other things go. There's a whole room here. There's a whole room here, and we can't just about be going around willy-nilly and expect this situation to work out. There's a whole room. Stay in your boundaries. Get in your boundary, do what you're supposed to handle, and do it the way it's supposed to be handled. And you will be fine. We will all work out fine. And I feel like that's what you're telling people, and that's what you're really helping people get back in line. It's like you're proving in this situation, because I know everything has its own way, but in this situation, you're proving like staying within the line, staying in the boundaries is what's necessary for success and for everybody to be happy. And people are really listening to you and looking up to you because you're doing it and you're doing it well. I feel like this might be right up your alley. This might turn out to be one of those moments where you're feeling like I'm at the right place at the right time, doing what I should be doing, and feeling very empowered. Is there anything? I think we're done. So I feel like they're just saying this is going to go really well. I feel a lot of you are going to start here. Like you're going to be at this moment like, oh, I see it coming. Now what am I going to do? And this reading is meant to tell you, yeah, you're going to do really well. Don't worry about it. There's nervousness coming in, but you're going to do well. You're going to do extremely well. Exceedingly is what I'm getting. All right. I'm going to shut this down here. I hope that helps. Thank you for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James, the number 4, astral@gmail.com. It'll be down below too. Thanks. Have a good day.